Because if you can't heal yourself, you sure as fuck shouldn't be stepping into hold space. You're just projecting your shit on them.
What do you actually want out of healing people? And we speak to our students about this a lot, that archetype of the wounded healer. I'm curious, like when you first started, why did you want to heal people?
It made me feel powerful. It made me feel like I was worthy. We just did 10 days of work with our first 2 students.
It was a deep initiation and it will change your life.
Welcome back to the Liberate Your Bliss podcast. My name's Chelsi, your host, and today's episode feels especially alive because I'm sitting down with someone who just walked through the most powerful initiation with me. And I know you're all used to Kristy because Kristy and I recently just completed our first teacher training together. And what unfolded was far deeper than a curriculum. It was definitely a transmission. Kristy brings wisdom, clarity, and embodiment into the way she teaches and holds space. And together we witnessed what happens when people stop performing healing and start embodying it. This conversation is for those who feel called to teach, guide, or facilitate healing. But I know that the old models don't work anymore. The world doesn't need more scripts. It needs more regulated, embodied leaders. So if you've ever felt the quiet whisper of, I think I'm meant to do this work, this episode will speak directly to you. Let's begin. Back again. I can't believe we're even sitting here. I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
We just did 10 days of work with our first 2 students of attuning them to Shamanic Reiki Master as well as Kundalini energy healing. And it was wild.
It was a deep initiation into so much. It's hard to even put into words.
I think that's what has been really hard for me is trying to explain the depth of this work. When you look at it as an initiation from spirit, it's not necessarily an attunement, right? Like each person that comes in and receives the light codes, and yeah, this is a really fucking woo-woo podcast, receiving those light codes, it matters the depth in which you've taken yourself for what you can and cannot receive and what we can and cannot teach you. And I have learned from the last week that there are levels to this thing. It is not a one and done. It is not a modality, not a press here formula.
No.
It's intuition. It's being in tune with your client.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a really hard thing to put into words and manuals.
Yeah, it really is. And I think we've done a fantastic job of doing our best to put something that is you kind of can't put into words. And every client who comes and sees us, every student that's ever worked with us, they all say it. I don't really have words right now for what this is because it's so profound and it hits you on like a cellular level. But I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to make this thing that you can't put into structure or words into a form and a structure.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks to you, because it all started as this crazy intuitive hit, which we want to talk about today. When you're receiving guidance, guys, from source and in your meditative spaces, like, yes, that is a real thing. However, as that information, which is so big, we're talking as big as the universe, comes into our consciousness, it's then streamed through several layers and lenses of the ego. Yeah. And it depends on where you're sitting and how you're interpreting the vision and how you're interpreting the download. Because when I first started this vision, it was so clear that I was going to teach this. And then it was so clear that I had no idea how I was going to be able to do that until I started talking to you, a year and a half ago? And now there's a system. But even in that system, there has to be this like flexibility.
Totally. Yeah, because that's what it is. It's not just a modality, like you said. It's a deep connection and with self, with your own spirit, with us, with your clients. Like nothing else matters in that space. And you have to be so in tune when you're doing this work. And yeah, it just as much as you said, it's like getting the downloads. It's like how much of your bullshit is in the way of that. And that's a really tricky thing because sometimes we don't even know we're in our bullshit. But a lot of us live most of our lives in our bullshit. So when we're receiving these things from spirit or these intuitive hits with our clients, what lens of like glasses of a filter are we receiving that through? Is our ego out of the fucking way so we can actually receive more truth of what is there, what needs to be worked on, what source, spirit is actually trying to get us to do in our life with our mission, like that takes time.
For sure. And like my grand vision that I have seen a million times of hundreds of healers, hundreds of people coming to be healed in a live symphony orchestra at Red Rocks, and just the amplitude of the shift in the world that's going to happen there. Like, I know that's going to happen, but it's like the when and the how is kind of the crazy part of like, you know, and where we're at now. It's like, of course, first we had to build a framework for people to heal themselves. Because if you can't heal yourself, you sure as fuck shouldn't be stepping in to hold space, because the law of resonance and law of vibration, you're just projecting your shit on them.
Yeah.
So for everyone coming that wants to hold space, that doesn't have a morning routine, you're a fucking asshole. Sorry.
Seriously.
So,
no, seriously.
Like it's bullshit.
It really is, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
And you're literally, you may think you're this incredible healer, but all you're doing is taking all your bullshit, shining it on their bullshit. They're going to have these big experiences, but no one's getting better. So if you're ending a healing session and you're disintegrated and you're fucked up, your emotions are crazy, and you haven't ended in that state of peace and stillness with your soul, something was done incorrectly.
Like you said, it comes down to the deep inner work. And I want to say about that, like, I don't care how much inner work you've done. Like, you could have read all the books and been on this journey for 10 years and then still come into something being like, oh, I've done all of that. I've done all my inner work. I'm sorry, but your inner work never fucking stops. Like, you and me, we've done combined over 20 years of deep inner work. And those tools that we've learned, we use every single day, because we still meet our inner children and our bullshit. And we've expanded so much, we meet our past life aspects that also come into the play when we're trying to do this light work, but then have had trauma from other lifetimes while we were doing that light work. So there's just so much, and it never ends.
The ego is a funny thing, right? You got to love the ego because it's doing its damn best to keep you safe. But at the same time, if you're holding space from your ego and it's not about your client, again, you're a fucking asshole.
No.
And I see so many egotistical healers that put themselves up here, put the client down here, giving them all of these, crazy downloads about their life and what they should do. And you're just taking the power away from the client. I think that's what's different about what we're doing is we're completely empowering the client to find their way back home. I'm not going to take you home. That's not my job. My job is to hold space for you to come home while I take myself home, because it's always in resonance. And I think people really need to hear this, that want to be a space holders, because everyone that's come in to work with me that I say, I need you to do your Reiki current every morning. I don't have time for that. Oh, but you have time to spend money on and time to spend on healing others, but you don't have time for yourself. You're healing from your ego. It's not a calling. And honestly, anybody that's not doing their morning routine, I will gladly kick out of our facilitation circles starting today.
For sure. Because it's important. And it takes time to build that consistency and that dedication. Like, there's also challenges that you have to meet to be able to do that. But it's important to go through that so that you can hold this level of space for others, because if you can't walk yourself through it, you can't walk other people to those depths as well. And they are the ones leading the journey, and that journey can go anywhere. Like, crazy stuff sometimes can happen. And if you're not grounded in yourself and prepared for that, then also kind of dangerous.
Yeah, because you're opening up the veil. Now, I was talking to my dad this morning, and his twin sister had a stroke, and she's now, I say, between both worlds, right? Like, she's there, and when she's there, she's really sad. Life is really hard. But then she kind of goes into this other place, and she's kind of smiling, and she's coming back telling my dad, she's speaking to their dead brothers and dad and telling all these things to my dad. And my dad's like, it's crazy, because for them, it's really hard when my aunt goes there because she's not with them.
Of course.
But I say to my dad, I'm like, when she leaves you guys, she's way better off there than she is here. But she's between worlds. Yeah. That is energy healing, you guys. Like, we are intentionally removing the veil and opening you up to the infinite abundance of creation of the universe, of whatever you need to experience at that time. And if you haven't held yourself to the depths of your trauma, to the depths of your soul, it's not love and light.
It's really not love and light. It is, but it's going to those other depths first before you get to the love and light. We live in a polar field, from the darkest, heaviest stuff to the lightest, brightest stuff, and we need to create space and be aware that all of it's coming in.
If I could go back in time and tell my first teacher when she taught me Reiki 1, like, thank you for the greatest modality of my entire life. And back then I was like, you know? And now where I'm at, I'm like, oh my God, was that important? Because knowing your light or your soul or your energy bodies, knowing what you feel like is the only way to hold space for others to know when it's you, when it's them, what's happening. And if you don't know your light, you can be plugged into God knows what.
Yeah.
You can be plugged into anything. I was plugged into black snakes for a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
And so often we just get plugged into our inner child, or our shadows, or our anger, or our sadness, or our sabotage self. We've worked with, through Soul Path Mastery, we work with people with their sabotage self a lot. Like, sometimes that's running the show and people don't even know. That's making the decisions. That's the one that's doing the healing. That's the one that's making all the choices in your life. And it's like, don't really think that's where you want to be making your choices from, really. But there's a process to getting that out of the way and humbling yourself. I think that word, being humbled, and humility is like the most important thing if you want to step in as a healer or a space holder, is being humble, having a lot of humility, getting yourself out of the way.
Over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again.
I mean, even my 8-year-old came up in this training because she wanted this training to be the best.
Of course.
And that's not a bad thing. We're not saying that these aspects are a bad thing, but when they're there, it will co-create with your clients a lot of mirrors of wounds. And it takes time to be like, oh my God, I'm healing from my inner child again. I'm holding space from my inner child again. I'm creating from that. And Source will never have you create manically. I've kind of learned that this week. Like, I've had manic downloads before where it's like, I got to get this down. I got to write my book. And in the end, it makes no sense when I reread my notes. Yet when I'm sitting in my light and I'm meditating and my mind is still, peace. That monkey mind, and it's slow and it's in the darkness, but it's that feeling that you're just connected to everything and you're everything and nothing. And that is where you get the clear, intuitive hits. It's not crazy. That's like almost the source coming through with like adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's hard to differentiate it until you sit with yourself.
A lot of the time, even that adrenaline, it is ego and it is the lower mind. And sometimes there's very little soul, source, spirit in that as well. And it's hard, and it takes time, and it takes sitting with your own stuff and realizing, and it's everything that we teach. Even in the first phases, when it's like healing yourself, first phase, it's got to be the first phase. And you always got to be doing those things, those foundational things all the time. Like you said, so oh shit, I am in my 8-year-old right now. Oh shit, I am in my shadows right now. This isn't really like the truth of me. But when we've been living like that for so long, that feels real. That feels like the truth. So it takes time to almost separate. Really, it's integrate, but create this kind of separation between the ego, the lower mind, the shadows, the inner child, all of those things. And then the higher mind, the divine mind, the soul mind, and to really be able to hear and differentiate the difference between the two. Before that, it just feels all very messy. And you're exactly right. It comes with a deep state of peace and presence and stillness. And sometimes the messages that spirit give you make no fucking sense. Like, I know for a long time when I was asking every morning, what do I do today? It was like, go and bless the earth. I was like, I don't know how to bless the earth. What am I going to do? Just went outside and walked my dog and put my feet on the grass and just give myself some time to just, hey, thank you, earth, for whatever. I was just kind of making it up, doing it. And I did that steadily for a while. And it was really powerful because I learned so much. I got so much from doing that, so much gratitude, so much peace, which is what I needed. But my ego was like, don't fucking tell me to go bless the earth. I don't want to bless the earth. Tell me what my purpose is. Tell me where to go. Tell me what to do in my business. Like that's what I wanted. That's what the ego wanted. But following that guidance from the soul, which made no sense to anything I wanted to achieve, well, it had a lot to do with that, but anything that I thought I wanted to achieve and that the answer that I wanted had nothing to do with what I actually really needed. And what actually, look at where we are now, just doing the things we're meant to
crazy.
do. So sometimes the messages don't really make sense, but if you follow them from that space, it will always lead you to where you're meant to go.
And if you don't have time to sit in that space, that's a sign you need to sit in that space triple the amount of time you normally would.
100%.
Because if you're too busy for your soul, you're completely in your ego. If you don't have 5 minutes to just be, and I feel sometimes I feel really lucky. You kind of step more and more into this work because I'm always holding space for clients and I know I have to clear before and after. Like there's always time, right, that's built in.
Well, you have to make time.
But when it's even more crazier, but I can tell by my capacity after sessions, if I'm exhausted, I haven't spent enough time with myself because that means that Chelsi, as a physical human, was channeling her energy into running that session, whereas Source is unlimited. And if I was really deeply connected to Source and really in tune with Source, I wouldn't be exhausted after because I wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
And that's the doing and the being thing that's really, really hard because you're not really doing anything. You're holding space for the Source to do the work. Yeah. And it's a really hard thing to teach because it's like, yes, these are the points you press. Yes, these are the meridians the energy runs through. Yes, this is how you manipulate the body, but don't do it.
Be it.
Be it, which means you need to be in the energy so that it's guiding you to those places. And it's hard for the mind to conceptualize. In the beginning, I was like more like Katut in a way. Like I just intuitively went and did stuff. I had no idea there was even a science or meridians or anything behind it. I just was like, this works. And I know this works. But then it's like, how do you fucking translate that to anyone else? Oh no, just intuitively touch, go to your heart space. That's impossible for the mind, for students. There has to be a framework. But then the polarity, you give the framework and it's like, oh, I have to do this and then this and then this, and then you're not even remotely in the heart space. So it's that blend of that feminine masculine again.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting after teaching it, some of the things that I think we need to change.
Yeah, for sure. We're always growing and learning, but I think we did a really beautiful job throughout the week of showing our students as well, like the difference between that. Oh, you're doing healing now. And then to watch them, because like you can't really explain doing and being. Like it's a weird thing. It's something that when you're actually in being and you let go, it's only when you do that you're like, oh, this is it. Yeah. This is really it.
It's kind of like getting up on a wakeboard. Have you ever, wakeboarding, have you ever done it? When you finally get up, and for anybody that's wakeboarded, they'll understand what I mean. You do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you're like, this makes no fucking sense. And then the first time you get up on it, you'll never not get up again because you experience it. And it's an experienced thing to be in the energy and have the energy guide your hands and have it move and to be manipulating the field of a human being. But if you're in your ego, your client will not respond to anything you do.
Well, you're doing and you're battling and your ego wants something out of healing someone. So that's like a big question I would ask to people who are either already healing or want to become a healer. Like, what do you actually want out of healing people? And we spoke about this a lot and we speak to our students about this a lot, that archetype of the wounded healer. I'm curious, like when you first started, why did you want to heal people?
It made me feel powerful.
Cool.
It gave me power. It made me feel like I was worthy of love from God. It made me feel like, and again, I had all that religious stuff I had to work through as well. But I always think back to my original teacher And the fact that the first session I ran with her, my veil, again, we're talking about the veil. I had taken all that acid. Everything was blown open. I had experienced so much light in such a small amount of time. My body couldn't hold it. And I was between worlds. Nothing looked the same. Everything was different, and I didn't know what was real or not. And she just got me back into my body. She didn't continue to blast me open. She didn't push. She held me and got me back into a place where I could understand what was going on. And it took her 10 years to bring me to the place that I needed to go to. 10 years, you know? And she knew the first session that I needed to go back to being molested as a kid. It took me 10 years to go there on my own. And she held space for me to get there on my own.
That's love.
And that is love. Because again, how uncomfortable is it to hold space? For any space holders, when you're holding space for someone that doesn't want to go to the depth of what you see and what you feel, you're in tune with their energy. You feel the shame. You feel the anger. And they'll be laying there and they'll be in their head and they'll just say, I'm not angry. And you're feeling anger rifle through your body. And that will make you want to push. But then you're not in tune with them, because if they wanted to go there, they would.
Yeah.
And if you just get out of the fucking way and move the energy and trust the energy, they'll get there when they're ready.
Yeah, and that's perfect. There's no rush. And again, I think for any healers, like if you're doing that, if you find yourself wanting to push them and wanting to get them there, I would like hold a mirror up to yourself and be like, okay, well, maybe what part of me, because it's really all about working with our own shit as well at the same time. It's like, what part of me wants to push? What part of me wants to fix, solve? If they get to that point, what does it give your ego? Worthiness, I did a good job, I'm powerful, look at me, like all of that sort of stuff. I know for me at the start, it was really like, I wanted a fix. I want to fix people. I want them to be happy. I want them to X, Y, and Z, you know, just like back even in my personal training days and my life coaching days, like going back 13 years ago, I so badly wanted others to be happy and good, but I wasn't really focusing on my own part of me that wasn't happy and was not good.
And what a journey that's been for you since I've even known you. We're still working through depths of what is happy, what is feeling good, what is joy to me, you know, and it's always working through that. And it's wild because it never is. Your clients are going to be a mirror of you. They're going to be little mini yous. Your students are, and then you step into teaching, and then it's even more ridiculous because you recognize I've never been more humbled than I have been as being a teacher, that I am forever a student and I am never done. And the amount of work we had to do this week on each other outside of the scope of holding space for them so that we were clear for them, I mean, that's next level.
Yeah.
It's the stuff your students don't see. It's that behind the scenes, we're literally moving through tears and rage and shame. And they don't see that because we have to show up a clear vessel for them so that they can show up a clear vessel for their clients.
Exactly.
And the more you hold space, the more fucking work you have to do on yourself so that you're a clear channel, because that is the only thing you need to be, is the clearest channel you can possibly be. And we're never going to be perfectly clear in this lifetime, I don't think. We're going to continue to evolve, but we're always working through layers, you know, and healing from the ego. That was a tough thing to hold this week, seeing the ego come through.
Yeah.
You know, and two students that we love more than anything.
Amazing students.
The best students. And our students all had aspects come through during this training where we had to say, look, your client is not in resonance with what's going on here. Can you see that there's an aspect present? And obviously that's going to make them feel judged. Like we don't think they're doing a good job, and that's actually not it at all. And we're stepping in to help. It's not because we're saying you're not good enough. It's because we're saying, hey, look, the client needs this. It's more important that the client's okay than your little inner child feels like she's doing a good job. And if you can't get out of the way of that and receive that and make sure the client has the best experience, then you're healing from your ego.
Yeah. And that is hard to hear, especially when you are in your ego, because it's going to trigger all your shit. And I think that's also part of, I mean, we've done a lot of work with these ladies and they have done so much work by themselves. But we're opening a 10-day container. I mean, we've been in a container for a while, but this intensive 10-day container to allow them to be the most confident, the most clear, the best versions of themselves that they can be as a healer of course, the shit that's going to get in the way of that is going to come up hard and fast. And I think people need to know that when they're going into training, and particularly if you're very passionate and very like you care about it, and if you're going into any sort of deep training, like you better believe you're going to meet your inner child, you're going to meet all your shit, and you got to be ready for that. And our current students, we have to prep them for that. Like, guys, on these 10 days, there are going to be points where you're going to hate us, and we're going to have to pull you up, and you're going to be pissed, and you're going to be angry, and you're going to be sitting in all your rage and all your discomfort or all your loneliness or I'm not good enough. Like, all of that is going to come up, and it's going to come up for a reason, because we need you to break through that so that you can see what's on the other side. And when our students this week broke through that, the healings were
next level.
Can't even put words to it. Like, gone from like kind of not in tune, kind of like we had to step in a lot. Like, God, we're like, what the fuck is going? There was one point where like, can we even let these guys like do this? Like, I don't even know if this is going to work, kind of thing.
Which was our inner child triggered, right?
Shit. Yeah.
Holy shit. Did we do a bad job? Did we not prep them enough? Are they not going to be good enough? Is this
what did we
not
do
gonna
wrong?
Be okay? What did we do wrong?
Yeah.
Did we not hold enough space? Have they not had enough rest? Did we not give enough rules? And in reality, it was all perfectly orchestrated, because their breakdowns on days 8 and 9 were the breakthroughs that changed everything. And every single person that came into that experience, which was yesterday, we had 2 sessions where our students each ran one. Every single person's life was changed. Every single person went to the depths. I mean, it was probably one of the deeper healing days I've ever been through.
I completely agree.
And every person that messaged me was like, I am blown away by the space that was held today. And that to me was like, oh my God, I thought I was in control. Nope, Source was. And it was all perfectly orchestrated. And then having that dinner with them last night, I was like, you know, you're good, go fly now, you know? And I think the really good thing is we don't, with our students, just then send them out and just say good luck like most teachers do. We're going to now hold them for the next 12 to 16 weeks, because the integration, they received 7 initiations plus the Shaktipat at the end. So 8 initiations from Spirit. You go to a Reiki attunement, you get 1. And then you integrate that for months. That's how it's supposed to work. We gave them 8. That's a lot of light. That's a lot of initiation from Spirit to come through. And the integration of that is taking that light when you're in this vortex where time... Like, what even was time during those 10 days? And then that has to now integrate into the physical. And I think the integration piece is the hardest part for facilitators, because now you have to remember, you've signed up. You've asked Spirit for light codes. And you better believe that the things out of resonance for you are going to start to fall away. So if you've been living from your ego, if you've been doing things that aren't in alignment with your soul, it will change, and it will change fast. So we want to hold them through that, because there are way more breakdowns and breakthroughs to go for these guys.
For sure.
We've only just begun.
Really, so true. It's so true.
And that's where we really need to hold each other through that. I still go and see my teacher, Zaya. Every time I'm home, I go and receive more from her, because I know she's ahead of where I'm at. She gives me codes. Those codes then come through. You know how you are with Ishtar's work. It's the same thing.
Every week.
You're always getting more codes.
Yeah.
And these students, like, I have no doubt that they'll come back for the level 2 in a year from now, and we'll be able to deepen that.
Yeah.
Because we're always deepening. And if you see that process, there's 8 billion people in the world. If you start to embody your light, your soul tells you what you should be doing. You follow that path. The right people that are in resonance will find you.
Yeah.
And they'll grow with you.
And let's talk about that as well. Like, there's like 2 things here. Like, A, why are we rushing so much? And B, it's your unique essence. That's what we were saying to the girls too. You're not here to be Chelsi. You're not here to be Kristy. You're not here to be anyone else. You're not here to be Zaya, your teacher. I'm not here to be Ishtar.
No, I have integrated embodied a lot of the things that Zaya has taught me and made it my own. And I want them to make it their own.
Yeah.
Take what hits and let go what doesn't. But when they say, like, can I have a script? It's like you're missing the point. If you're not embodied in it, you won't be able to speak about it. You'll need a script. Now, yes, of course, when you're studying and in the beginning, read about them. But at the end of the day, if you haven't sat, for example, with the directions, if you don't know East If you don't know eagle, then how are you going to teach it? How are you going to hold space for it or talk about it? So again, it goes back to you're rushing to hold space when you haven't sat with the directions to understand them. And they just now were attuned to them. So now the East will start to work with them. The West, it'll all start to open up even more. And then a year from now, they're going to call us and be like, I fucking get it.
And it was beautiful watching them even over the week, like speak about the directions. And you could really, it's not just words, right? You can feel the vibration when it's called in. You can feel the frequency, because this is what it's all about, vibration and frequency. You can read a script and you can have a lovely voice and put on a really nice, kind of words. Anyone can do that.
It's a meditation.
It's a meditation. And that can be nice, sure, but there's no fucking frequency with it. And that's the biggest thing. And we all have our own unique codes. Like, yes, we integrate and we embody and we receive from our teachers and all these things, and we share and we pass those things on. But those students and every one of our students, they all have their own unique energy, their own unique flavor. And it's very common, and we've all been victim to this or subject to this comparison thing, right? Oh, but she seems to be like putting more fire, or she can take people through more anger better, or she can take people here better, or whatever. And we can all do it, but there's almost like a speciality that each person kind of has when they start trusting themselves and their own light and their own codes, rather than trying to, again, do other people. They really come into being. And I think the girls really got to that, and it was really special to just see them come alive.
Because each circle yesterday, the first healing, you could feel our first student's fire. You could feel that move through the space, and just the rawness and the depth that she's gone and how she sat with herself. Like, it moved through the space. And it was amazing to see how each person resonated with that. And then our second student, you could feel the energy of her as well, which was so different. It was such a different energy to move through the space, but it took everyone to their hearts. And how perfect was it that the big releases came, and then the heart spaces came, and the grief moved through. So it was perfectly orchestrated if we could just get out of the way.
Totally. And stop trying to be like everyone else and actually realize we are all special. We are all light workers in a sense, because we all have our own unique soul blueprint that just wants to come alive when we can get our egos out of the way and allow ourselves to not be like someone else.
Well, and yes, to be yourself, but also to kind of recognize, like, I am not doing this. There is something way beyond me, the great mystery of everything, the source of all there is, God, universe, creation. Like, there's no words for that energy that is directing all of us and playing us like instruments, right? And then when we come into our unique tone of that frequency, then we can play bodies like instruments.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's unbelievable to be able to run the energy and watch as you move their bodies, which you can't make that shit up. You can't force it to happen.
Again, it's about that you're not doing healing, you're being just a channel, a clear channel, the clearest you can possibly be, to allow it to flow through. And I think, that's the difference. We're sacredly, safely calling all this in to create this vortex for these amazing shifts to happen, life-changing transformations and shifts to happen for all of the clients that we see, and to watch the girls do that themselves and realize they have that within them. It's special. Like, we shed a lot of beautiful, loving, grateful, awe-inspiring tears over it over the week,
Many times. But what I recognize, what's really different about what we are doing is, like, this is not a modality.
No.
Like, I don't even know what to call it, because it's beyond. It's what Zaya does for me. I have no idea what to say she does, but she just brings me to the places that I need to go to at the perfect time for me to see that I am way more than I thought I am, and also humbles me enough to see that I'm not as big as I thought I was.
Totally.
If that makes any sense. I'm so much bigger, but I'm not as big. It's like I am so much more of that source, of that frequency, and I don't have to be the best in that place.
Yeah.
It's like the most humbling but also uplifting thing at the same time, and you can't get it until you get it. But that's where it's like, I'm not teaching you to do Kundalini activation. Yes, there's components if you want to move that. I'm not teaching you to do breath work or body work or myofascial release. Yes, I'm going to teach you
all those things,
principles, but when you're in this space, there's no formula for space holding. You're loving the shit out of that client and you're using all of the skills that you've embodied.
If you're clear enough and you're in tune enough with the energy and with your client's energy and the space, you'll know exactly what to do and when to do it because there's no mind in it. It's almost like your body leads you to exactly where you need to go. And the moment you're in the mind is the moment you do something, not wrong, but where you're like, oh, that didn't really work. Because you're completely out of touch. So it's all about presence.
Because I think it used to be before we really disconnected into our minds, and nobody can watch this and argue that we've got a bunch of head cases running around these countries right now. Like everyone's in the mind, depressed or anxious, which means you're in the mind. Because if you were present, you wouldn't be depressed and you wouldn't be anxious, you would be here. So anybody experiencing depression is in their mind. Anybody experiencing anxiety is in their mind because the past and the future only exist in the mind. Presence is the only thing. And when you're present, your presence is your greatest gift. So that is just such a big part of this whole thing. And if our soul and our bodies were connected, we're connected into source, and you're letting that energy in the present moment because you're so present that you can feel your soul, then your body is going to lead you through without the mind even being there.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like we've gotten so disconnected from source, from God, because we fear it because of the religious programming, because of all the control, that we've become all mind, no soul in this world. And we're like returning back to that.
Yeah.
But it's hard for the mind to let go because of fear.
Yeah.
And we did go through some shitty stuff. And you can't bypass the nervous system. So there's no rush to this. So going and doing, I'm going to do a Reiki training and then a Kundalini training and then I'm going to do a bodywork training and a yoga training and a this. Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
Because that's anxiety that I'm not enough. And I got to keep going.
It's 100% not
Rather
enough.
than like, you know what? I'm going to really sit. I just learned one thing and I'm going to sit with that and embody that and integrate that before I take on the next thing.
100%.
And I'm speaking to myself here.
Yeah, and I've been like that too in the past. Like, it's not all bad. Like, sometimes it's also like, I just really want it. Like, I want to learn this and I want to learn that. And sometimes we've also got issues around time. Oh my God, I feel like I'm running out of time, so I just want to cram it all in and da-da-da-da. You know, like we get in that ramped up adrenaline, manic kind of mode to kind of just collect all the possible certifications and things that we possibly can to like get to where we want to go. But you're exactly right. It's all coming from not enoughness. All of it, really. And if you're one of those people out there, like, to sit with that discomfort of the not enoughness for a bit and ask yourself why you've gone to 10,000 trainings in a year, because you cannot embody, and you probably will not have embodied sweet fuck all of it, really, because you're just trying to cram things in again from the mind without being with it. And this stuff takes time. I remember getting an intuitive hit, and maybe we can talk more about that in a moment. Years ago, when I was starting one program with one of my teachers, and I said, oh, I really want to do this healing modality that I was doing for groups. Like, I feel like there's a really powerful way that this could be done for groups. And so I asked my teacher about it, and they said, oh, look, for you to be able to hold that much space and that much light and that many people, which is probably another good thing to talk about, how many people we can hold, because how much light we've embodied, you would have to go through a more advanced training. And a part of me was like, oh, damn. But I was surrendered enough and trusted enough to be like, okay, no worries, I'll wait for it. And when I look back to myself then and where I was then and to now, like being able to very comfortably hold a space of like 18, 20 people, it's always better when we're together, but you know, you can do it. There's no fucking way back then that I could have done that. And I'm so glad that I trusted the process and I slowed the fuck down and I let everything from, like, I'm talking like maybe 6 years ago integrate so deeply. So it's not just knowledge. It's not just something I've learned and blurted out of my mouth because someone else said it. It's been integrated into my cells at a level of wisdom. Like I feel it and I get it and it's a part of me now that we can hold this kind of space. And again, like we said at the start, we've got a combined 20 plus years of work of integrating at a cellular level this work. So why the fuck are we rushing?
The other even crazier thing is like, do people understand with breath work as well? Like, you're not just working with the mind and the body. Like, you are working with someone's soul, and you're opening up a portal where a lot of stuff can happen. And if you can't hold that portal, you're irresponsibly running energy space. So it's like, you know, again, the why and the wisdom and all of that. But again, everything's all perfect. And I think you can't see it until you get to that certain place. But that's why I said, you know, start running energy one-on-one. Being in tune with one person, understanding that. Don't rush and hold a group of 20 people. You know, one of my facilitators asked me, she said, you know, my first retreat, I got 26 women coming. I'm thinking about running a session. And I said,
hell no.
Yeah, I said, you're never going to be able to do that. She goes, oh, well, I have some other people that can co-facilitate. I said, they've done the training that you've done? No, right? And it's humbling, I think, after that for them to have seen what it's like to have held, I think we had 16 and then 12.
Yeah.
With both of them.
Yeah.
And it still needed us to step in,
yeah.
you know? And that's not to say that they couldn't have done it on their own, but why not? If there's 4 space holders there, why not hold the space to bring the client to the deepest place that they can go in a day? Because we have so much light between the 4 of us that was what made the portal so big.
Again.
And then it's the I versus we, and the I did that. And it's like, you know what? No, Source did that through the 4 of us, and what a gift. Again. Blessed are we, blessed are we, blessed are we, instead of the me.
Totally. That's what I was going to say. It's not about us. It's not about us. It's about them.
And if it's about you, what aspect are you in?
Ego.
Right.
It's all ego.
Yeah, it's
the ego trying to make itself important and prove itself. And when the ego drops away, you realize how important co-collaboration and connection is. And it's got fucking nothing to do with an individual. It's about the all. And we had beautiful people in the space there, even feeling like one man from across the other side of the room could feel another man and was like, I was resonating in that space with that guy. I thought he was right next to me. And I was like looking up to him for how deep he was going, and it was inspiring me to go deeper into myself. Like it was just magical and wonderful. And there's no I-ness in that. And if the facilitator is in their ego and they are all about I-ness, those sorts of things can't happen in the space.
No, because it's about them and not the people.
Yeah.
And that's where we really need to start recognizing is that you are not separate from the all of humanity. You know, the initial wound of humanity is separation from love. You can look at it in the Bible. They talk about it as Adam and Eve and the separation and sin and whatever. It's literally we all collectively at some point made a choice to separate from the light, from Source, from God. We chose that. And now it's a choice. We have free will of whether or not we want to connect with that in every moment. And that's what consciousness is. That's getting out of the fucking matrix, is recognizing that you are in control of your reality. And yes, we have to play the game because we're in this world, but that's still parts of our work to be done.
Totally.
Because this world was created by us. Every single one of us has played a part in that, in our biological blueprint, in our divine plan. So it's being able to have humility to recognize the system that we hate. We were a part of its creation, which therefore, if you can fucking humbly admit that you have Hitler within you.
It's like, you're the problem.
You're the problem.
Hi,
but
it's
also,
me.
If you can create such fucking bullshit, then imagine what we can do collectively if we start to create from our light and inspire people to come into their light, which means loving people even when they're fucking in their shadow, giving them the opportunity for their breakthrough. Because if you say, come to the light, you're bypassing the truth of that is.
Yeah.
And just robbing them of their breakthrough. And the breakthrough is everything. I've had many where I've been like, oh my God, I can't even believe that just happened. And for a split second, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything. You're like, oh my God, I get it. And then life. And then all of a sudden, you know, the coffee machine breaks down and the dog's getting peed on by a poisonous snake, poisonous toad, and you run right back out into the human experience. But it's these moments where we're like, I fucking get it. And you are me, I am you, as within, so without. And then you're like, it's like hard to conceptualize, and then boom, I'm a human again.
And in those moments when you realize that, there's this indescribable, profound peace and spaciousness. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. There's like
expansion
and spaciousness, and everything feels light, but at the same time it feels like grounded, like heavy, like
it's not manic.
No,
it's like the voice, if it, like, you know, an intuitive hit of you gotta right, that's not it. And then when you finally get to this place and you have that breakthrough and everything comes together and it's like, now you see it. Like, that's the voice.
Yeah.
If I could put it in a voice, it would be like, now you understand again. Welcome home.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do because it's just, oh my God, I'm here.
Yeah. It's like,
I've never not been here.
Exactly.
Wow, everything's perfect. I've done nothing. There's nothing wrong. Nothing's broken. Everything is. And it's like, I don't even know if I'm making any sense. And for people watching that haven't had this experience, it's kind of like when you've gone through plant medicine and you get that breakthrough and you have that aha moment. But if you don't integrate in life, you're going to be going right back 6 months later for another dose of bufo, for another dose of ayahuasca.
Or kundalini.
It's the same.
Yeah, you've got to take the wisdom or the opening. It's really like you're opening, you're getting the ego and all that shit out of the way for that higher consciousness of you to come through, to give you a message where everything makes sense. And you're like, oh, this is the thing. Now it's like, how can I hold that thing and integrate that thing that I got told, that wisdom, into my everyday life? I feel like it took me 4 years to integrate my ayahuasca experience.
Oh, I'm still integrating
Probably
all
still,
of mine.
Yeah.
You know, that the LSD experience still comes up in my life of nothing's real. You know, it's wild and it's unfolding. It's like a lotus. It's like this, it's unfolding the great mystery before you. And the more you can become a part of the experience and recognize that everything is working for you, everything is being created for you, and every person, it's right now.
It's all here.
And everyone is having the perfect experience for their soul, even as me, even as a facilitator, when I'm like, that client not ready or this, that, it's like, it's all perfectly on time for each person. But at the same time, it doesn't also mean come rush to try to be more like me. If you're not ready, stay being you.
Yeah.
I don't need you to come try to be more like me from your ego, because that's not in resonance.
No.
It's really wild.
And
so
if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's okay. And I think I remember like certain even business coaches and things saying stuff like that to me in the past, like, oh, you're not ready. And I'd be like, excuse me? You're telling me I'm not ready? Do you know who, like, let me show you how fucking ready I am. Where's that? Ego, inner child, trigger.
And it's the truth.
And it's the truth. And so, yeah, you've got to meet all of those triggers that come up. But then to look back and be like, yeah, I really wasn't ready and I forced something. I was forcing something because someone triggered something about me. And again, all perfect because you've got to work with those things. But had I been able to surrender and let go, man, life would have been much more beautiful. And I probably would have got to the place that I'm at a lot quicker with a lot more grace. And who cares about the quickness? But, you know, there was
at the same
so
point,
much resistance.
Nothing matters but right here, right now anyways.
Yeah.
Like even this podcast will someday be in the past and just a figment of our imagination that we're doing right now, right? It's like, it really doesn't matter, because when you get to that present moment and you have that aha, none of it matters. The past, the future, nothing. It all makes sense as is. And those are the moments you want to just keep cultivating again and again and again and again, so that you can start to live from that place.
Yeah.
And that's when life becomes a beautiful dance.
Yeah, and put those moments into life. Like weave them into your life, because your spiritual life and your physical life, they're not separate.
No.
They're not separate.
Learn to meditate with your eyes open.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Bring it into your everyday. And that's what our whole training is part of. You know, we start with self-healing. Then we move into holding space. But from that self-healing and even that holding space, it's like you are integrating these pieces into every single part of your life and your being. They're not separate. Spirit's with you 24/7. Even when you are judging that you're in the most non-spiritual spaces. I don't know, can't think. When, like I was a fighter and a healer, they weren't separate. I'm telling you, when I was in the ring, you know how present spirit was? Because like you're in that flow state. You're just being. What would you say to someone who feels like they are ready?
If you are ready to hold space for others.
Yeah. If you feel the call, like if there's an inkling, there's an inkling in you.
If you've got an inkling, you've got a calling that this is for you, I would ask you, how deep have you gone within yourself? Are you able to hold anger, shame, guilt, unworthiness, and fear? Are you able to see the aspects of yourself that carry those darker sides? And have you allowed yourself to tap into pleasure, abundance, bliss as well? I think we need to say both. I would say, what is your daily routine? How do you channel your own light? How do you connect to yourself? And how disciplined are you to doing the work? Those would be my questions. What about you?
I love that. Yeah, and how willing, if you haven't gone to all of those spaces, how willing are you to go to those spaces? How important is this? How, like you said, discipline, how committed are you to this path? Because you're going to meet all of it. And if you're willing and you're ready and you're here through all of the ups and downs and the roller coaster of it all, then yeah.
And I've had the shittiest mentors and I've had the most amazing teachers and I've had the coaches in between. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now.
Same.
And I've combined all of that into a spiritual initiation with you, combining all of your stuff that will take people to the depths. If you're willing to spend 1 year working with us, I guarantee that anybody coming in, no matter what your experience, how many modalities you've done, how much inner work you've done, will hold fantastic space. But I also guarantee that it's not going to be fucking easy.
No.
So this isn't a rah-rah love and light thing. We're going to take you to the depths. We're also going to take you to the greatest moments of your life.
Yeah.
And if you're ready for that, come join us. But this isn't for the faint of heart. This isn't a modality. This is an initiation.
Yeah. And it's to follow your unique blueprint and your soul's path. And that means probably getting rid of a lot of the things that are probably present in your life right now that aren't aligned to that. And that's hard too. And that's why you need other people to hold you through that, because the fear of letting go often from what needs to be falling away from your life so that you can actually be on that path, it's fucking hard. And you need people to hold you to that highest alignment and walk with you on that path. And it will change your life. Like looking at the girls last night compared to like when we met them, a year and a bit ago, different people, completely different people.
In the best way.
In the best way. So much more in love, so much more vibrant, so like everything.
And in service.
In service.
To the bigger picture.
In their heart space, and in peace and in love. And it's undescribable. Even my masseuse this morning when I went in just before I got here, he didn't recognize me, just even from our 10 days. He was like, have you been before? And I'm like, yeah, heaps. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He looked at our message, he goes, you look younger. You look brighter. Now, to be fair, I was very sick when I went and saw him last time. But even for us, that 10 days,
we're different.
Blow up.
Yeah, we're different as well. I think the biggest learnings that I have is for the 10 days that you're in that spiritual initiation, you really need to be honored to that journey. Not a lot of outside influences, eating healthy, resting, protecting your vitality. That's some things I'm going to shift for the next one. But I think all in all, we did an amazing job.
So if it's calling you, reach out to us, because we are taking applications for our next year's intake. And if you want a little sample of the work we do, with the description below this, you can access our Soul Alignment Blueprint Masterclass, which will give you some little keys on how to start regulating yourself and really start to understand and open to what is it that I really want in my life and how do I get there.
And come join our online healing classes to get a little dose of them as well, because they are incredible and there is no time and space with energy healing. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You don't have to be in Bali to come work with us.
No.
And we would love to see it and help as many of you as possible, because this awakening journey is the best journey of your life.
Yeah, and for the future facilitators that are ready, like, we really want to spread this transformation to the world. Like, we don't just want to keep it here in ourselves in Bali. That's not the way. It's expanding this and spreading this to everyone. So if you feel the call, reach out.
So what we're really talking about here, you guys, is remembrance. And if this is calling you, Soul Path Mastery is the place to begin. This is where you will learn how to hold yourself emotionally, energetically, somatically, without bypassing or collapsing. And after that, if our teacher training is calling you, that's for those really ready to take that embodiment into leadership through integrity, presence, and safety. This isn't about becoming a coach overnight. It's about becoming someone who can stay present when things get real. And if this conversation stirred something in you, follow it. The next cohort details are waiting in the show notes below. Thanks for watching.